Welcome back to the Back to School edition of Low Country Spotlight. I'm your host, Margie Pizarro. Our second guest is one of my, I want to say, little nephews. He probably will kill me for saying that. His name is Matthew Boone. He is a great kid. Really, really love him, really enjoy spending time with him. He is also a mass communications senior at Claflin University. As you will recall, earlier during the summer, we had some college students on just talking about their experiences being back in the Low Country, talking about some of the wonderful things they were doing at their school. And now we have Matt, who's going to kind of put a nice bow on that conversation and tell us how he is transitioning from being at home during the summer, working, not wilding out, and going back to school. So with that huge, long segue, Matthew Boone, welcome to Low Country Spotlight.
It's such a pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy that you could join us today. How exciting to have you in the studio.
It's so nice to be in a familiar setting.
Yeah, exactly, because you are a mass communications major.
You're
Tell us a
right.
little bit about your studies at Claflin.
Well, being my concentration is digital broadcast, I always had dreams of being in front of the camera. So I would study what it's like to be behind the camera, like angles, rule of thirds. That also entails photography and everything like that. But yeah, you know, it was a wonderful experience, really.
Okay, so you say digital, say that again?
Digital broadcast.
Okay,
yes.
what is digital broadcast? What does that mean?
Well, for example, what you're doing right now.
This is digital broadcasting?
Yes.
Okay, tell me how. I had no idea. See, I learned something new. Coming to work today.
Well, it's Low Country Spotlight. You can play this on the website, right?
Yes.
YouTube. Basically, yeah, it's digital broadcast. You're broadcasting your show.
Okay.
Topics, things and such, like, you know, people that you interview.
Yeah.
You know, giving your perspective on things. You're doing it through a television setting. You can do this through a radio setting as well. So I mean.
And what is it called when you do it through radio? Radio broadcasting.
It's still
But
yeah.
no.
TV radio broadcast is one of the classes I took. But yeah, no, mass communications has opened a lot of doors for me, a lot of opportunities, as well as internships in school, and by the grace of God, the good friends, you know, experiences outside of school.
Yeah.
Really, so.
Yeah. Well, before we get specifically into some of those experiences, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how, you know, learning is not just in the classroom. I mean, you've got to get out there, and there are things you've got to
yes.
do. You know, you got to shake the trees. You got to have networks. Tell us about that.
They teach you how to get a resume together, and you know, you have to be dressed professional.
Yeah.
Well, excuse my attire right now.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're going back to school.
Yeah,
You're good.
You have to be professional, clean cut, excuse the hair as well. Just, you know, well put together. You have to have experience in school as well as outside of school. You got to fight for your internships. You got to fight for what you want.
Yeah.
But one thing that a good friend of mine who works behind the scenes in the music scene, he really showed me how to go out there and just network.
Right.
His name is Daniel Simmons, but he goes by Beats by D Sims on Instagram.
Okay.
Beats by D Sims.
Shout out. Okay.
Yeah, shout out. Really just being around him and a lot of friends that I lived with junior year, they really showed me what it really takes to really go after what you want, as well as musically and in front of the television screen. D Sims is somebody that really pushes you to chase your dreams, because he told me, he said, I started off just playing with Fruit Loops. It's a beat producing package that you can get on a computer. He played around with that, and he never thought he would have the experiences that he would get throughout college.
Right.
Like really just taking back-to-back trips with him in Atlanta, just really seeing the things and meeting the artists that I actually listen to, that I'm not gonna say a lot of people don't or aren't really, like, that don't really know about them, but just really people that I grew up listening to that at my age, I really would just sit in the background and just look like, wow, like, he's really doing it.
Yeah, and even
this is possible.
Right, and exactly. And you know, I bet that those skills that you learn from him in terms of networking and pushing forward, and like you said, fighting for your internships, you probably could use those not just in mass communication major, but throughout life. Is that correct?
Yeah. Like, you can't really be shy going after what you want.
Yeah.
It's really right there.
Okay.
You just have to go for it.
Okay. But you know what? A lot of people would say, you know, that's easier said than done. I mean, a lot of people would say, you know, listen, I've been knocking on this door for like, 10 or 15 years. A lot of students your age, and, sometimes they just give up. What words would you have for those students who feel like they're on the verge of giving up because it seems like nothing's happening?
That's really the thing. You can't give up. The journey at the beginning is hard, but that's really like, that's where you lay the groundwork.
Okay.
you got to really look at where you started off and where you're at now, and really where you're going if not there already. It's really the journey, and sometimes it's not always the destination.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, like, you know, I always had dreams of being an actor, a dancer. I was in Charles Youth Company for some years. I was in chorus for 3 years in school. You know, I ran track. I was very structured as a kid, and I wasn't really in the mass communications aspect, like, right away. Going to school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do freshman year, sophomore year, like close to sophomore year, like second semester freshman year. I really tried out mass communications, and, you know, I had my bumps along the way.
Right.
But yeah, like, just being around him, he just showed me, like, okay, you know, you don't really have to have, I'm not gonna say you don't have to have a plan, but you gotta know what you want. You gotta work towards it.
Right, right. Sometimes that plan can be fluid because situations happen and sometimes you have to just kind of adjust.
Life happens.
Well, life happens. Yeah, at the ripe old age of what, 21, you can say.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Life happens. Okay, what is mass communications? We talked about digital broadcasting. When you say I major in mass communications, what do you want to be when you grow up or when you get your degree? What does that mean?
Mass communications can mean a lot of things.
Okay.
Because you have, well, this for example.
Okay.
You have things such as, do you look at Spoken Reasons on YouTube or anything like that?
Spoken Reasons?
Yeah.
I haven't yet.
Or like,
but I
okay,
can.
you have the Breakfast Club. That's
The morning show.
Yeah, that's
Charlemagne.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Basically mass communications as well.
Okay.
Or like you can
So
host
is
an
any
event.
form, is it any form of communications to the masses?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. I'm just using it only because of the two words put together.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Like Z93 Jams, that's mass communications because it's a well-known radio station. You have people that have blogs. You have
Okay.
certain bloggers. You have TV stations, like news stations like that.
Yeah. So when you actually have that, when you study that, are you specifically studying all of the different forms like digital, like radio, like YouTube, like
See, there's
electronic?
that, but you have different concentrations. You have PR, like, you know, press.
Okay, gotcha.
You got your PR
Public relations,
managers, photographers.
Oh, man.
But
It's everything.
pretty much.
I can't even think of something that mass communications wouldn't be because now with the, I guess with so much technology, we're using all forms
was
to
just
communicate
about
with
to get
people.
into that.
Yeah.
Like, you have your phone. This can be your camera.
Well, this could
editing.
be, yeah, but my phone is better than yours because I have a new BlackBerry.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, Apple, so.
Well, I know because you know what? When we're looking at different equipment, even for the studio, and I was reading some description, it was like all you have to do is use your phone camera to connect it to something, and you can actually broadcast internationally. And I'm like, wow, who knew?
If you have a phone, you can major mass communications.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Okay. Well, let me ask this.
So many apps to really cut and edit. And
Yeah. Well, talking about the phone and technology, do you think that there might be some drawbacks to the fact that every time you're in Walmart or Kmart or wherever, and because things like this bother me sometimes when I'm on Facebook or on my social media and I see people that have used their phone to tape other people in not the most flattering situations, that really bothers me.
Well.
It happens, right?
I need an example so I can really just piggyback off of what you're saying.
No, I mean, and this is the crazy thing. We're out of time. But can you very quickly talk about the fact that with social media and with the camera, it's so readily easy now to broadcast people at their best and worst and up and down and all that.
You never know what can happen with somebody
Yeah,
with
when
phone.
someone has a camera.
It can happen at any moment.
Yeah.
Someone can catch you doing something embarrassing. Someone
Yeah.
can catch you doing something, great.
Yeah.
It's really like all in the moment.
Yeah.
It could be something to laugh at later, but you might not be happy about it then.
And something
I have a lot of mixed emotions
Yeah,
about it.
it's
Really.
something to cry about later on. Look at Ryan Lochte.
Oh
They
my
told that
gosh.
story, and then guess what happened? We have totally dated our show.
Yeah.
Okay, Matthew, thank you so much.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Oh,
so.
yes. Shake my hand. We've been talking to Matthew Boone, who is a senior at Claflin University. He's going to be heading back to school, and we wish him all the best of luck with all of the college students, and they'll have a great experience. And don't go anywhere. We've got Jessica talking more about transition from elementary school, the busy mom, Low Country Spotlight. Come right up.